Okay, students, if you were absent today, I am going to go through the review with you, all the ones that we did in class, so you can follow along. I hope this will be helpful for you. The best way to do this is after I do all of the left-hand side, fold your paper in half, so then you can practice taking your test and see if you can do it without looking at the ones we did together. And if not, then you flip it over and take a quick peek at what we did so you can remind yourself of how to solve that problem. Okay, this is going to be a long video, but I promise if you stick with me, you will hopefully pass your test tomorrow. All right, so first thing, you guys, on 1, 2, 3, and 4, you can remember that a little helper is over of equals the percent over 100. Now this will only work with questions 1, 2, 3, and 4. So when I go through and I start setting this up, I know I have a percent proportion because every single problem but one, you can set up a percent proportion. So then I can look for those keywords. 18 is what percent of 48? 18 is what percent of 48? Then just pick up your calculator, cross multiply and divide, and you should get 37.5%. Okay? So the next one, that same proportion, what number is 25% of 56? So again, percent proportions. So I see the percent sign, that makes it easy. I know where that one goes. And then I just have to remember that of is the denominator, so is what I don't know. So then when you cross multiply and divide, your answer will come out to be 14. Okay, the next 4 problems, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Here's a little helpful, maybe proportion for you to remember. It's the original price will equal the percent, right? Actually, maybe we should do 100% minus the percent off, or the percent of discount, okay? That will still be 100, and then this will be the sell price, okay? So when you're setting up 5, 6, 7, and 8, keep that in mind. Original price is always on the bottom. That's super important. So when I go through and I set up my percent proportions, then I have that to help me. So I read, Sam wants to buy a game that costs $50. It's discounted 25% off. So I've got the word discounted that tells me to subtract. I even have the word off that reminds me to subtract. And what am I subtracting? 25%. So 100 minus 25 is going to equal 75. I keep reading, Sam wants to buy a game that costs $50. Well, that's what it always costs. So that's the original price, right? So again, original price, that is super important. Then my X is what I don't know, so it goes here. When I cross multiply and divide, this is a money answer. So guess what? We want to make sure we use a dollar sign. We want to make sure that there are 2 numbers after the decimal if there is cents involved. So when I cross multiply and divide, my calculator says 37.5. You have to add the 0. It is $37.50. So on number 7, we use that same proportion up above. Sell price over original price equals the 100 minus the percent off over 100. So Roy buys a pair of gloves during a sale for 12% off. Oh, I love that word off. That reminds me, subtract 100 minus 12 means that I paid 88%. And then I keep reading. If he paid $22, what was the original price? If I'm not sure, look at this word. What are they asking me to find? The original price. Original prices always go on the bottom. So that means if I wasn't 100% sure, where does 22 go? Now I'm sure it goes on the top. Again, it's money, so when we cross multiply and divide, I should include a dollar sign with my answer, and it's $25. Okay, so your next one, if you need help on these ones, remember it's what always happens first, or the original price, or in this case, the store cost. Okay, over the under, I should say the difference, because that's what's always on top, will equal the percent over 100. So if you need some help. So the cost to a store for a book is $6. So I set up my percent proportion. The store is selling it for $9. What is the percent of markup? Well, I'm not sure yet what I'm supposed to do. What is the percent? Well, at least I know where the X is. It's even underlined. I'm trying to find the percent. So that's where my X goes. Now, I wrote this little helpful proportion. The store had to buy it first, and it cost them $6. I do not want you to write the number 9 on top. That would be incorrect. I want you to tell me how much extra did you buy? And you figure that out by saying, well, the price tag was $9. The store paid $6, so 9 minus 6 means I paid an extra $3. So when I cross multiply and divide, I get that my percent is going to be a markup of 50%. Okay. So down here on 11 and 12, this will be like question number 6 on your test. I'm still going to do a percent proportion. Like we said, every single problem you can solve with a proportion. Okay, your taxi fare is $25. So when you ride in a taxi, or if you go to a restaurant and they bring you the bill, that's the 100% that you're expected to pay. So this taxi is expecting me to pay $25 no matter what, because that's how much money it cost me to go from point A to point B. So $25. So it says, how much is your tip? I just want to know the tip. I don't want to know the total amount. I just want to know this teeny tiny bit of extra money that you gave the driver. Okay, and it says right here, you tip the driver 10%. So guess what? All I do is write 10 right here. I put X right here. Okay, maybe I should underline that with a different color so we know that it's not a weird T. That's a 10. So 25 times 10 divided by 100 tells me that I left the driver $2.50 for a tip. Now, on number 12, or number 6, part B on your test, it's going to say, what is your total cost, including the tip? Well, you know what? They give you some helpful words like total. That means add in math. They also gave me a word including tip. That's another reminder I've got to add. So I'm going to do 100% of the taxi fare plus the extra 10% tip I'm going to give the driver means that I'm going to give the driver 110% total. That's where my X goes right here. So now when I cross multiply and divide, the total amount I paid the driver was $27.50. Okay? So let's look at page 2. Or in other words, flip it over to the back of your paper. Okay, we are on the back, problem number 15. So as we go through, let's read this story problem and underline things that are going to be important as we read it. You and 2 friends go out to lunch. The total bill is $27. You decide to split the bill equally. Do you know what all of those words mean, you guys? That means divide. So everyone pays the same amount. If you add 15% to your tip, ooh, I love those words, add 15% tip, that tells me what I'm going to have to do in a minute. I'm going to have to do some adding. To your part, how much will you have to pay? Well, the first thing I need to know is, what's my part? So I would start, this would be my first step. It was $27 that our whole bill was. And then I have to split it equally. Now, there are 3 people that went to lunch. Now, if you're wondering, no, Mrs. Warby, there was 2. Let's look at it. You plus 2 friends. You plus 2 makes 3 people total. So 3 people went to lunch. 27 divided by 3 means that your friends are counting on you to pay $9 of the bill. Okay, $9. That's what your friends are expecting you to pay. And you're going to add, oh, I love that. See, it even says the word add right there, 15%. 100 plus 15 means that I'm going to pay a total of 115%. And then my X will go here. So now when I cross multiply and divide to figure out how much total money I paid for lunch at this particular restaurant, I'm going to get, it's money, $10.35. So that was the total amount that I paid. Okay, so for our next one, we've got question, this would be question number 8. I guess it would be on your test. So if we look at this one and read, on your way to school Monday, okay, so we're talking about Monday, there were 32 people riding the bus. Okay, what else are we talking about? On Tuesday, there were 40 people riding the bus. What was the percent of increase? Oh, look, here's my question. What was the percent? So if I'm not sure yet of anything else, I hope we all know at least the X goes on top of 100. What's the percent? So now let's read again. On your way to school Monday, there were 32 people riding the bus. On Tuesday, there were 40 people riding the bus. Oh yeah, remember what comes first? Monday comes first. So Monday is the original amount or the denominator. So on Monday, there were 32 people on the bus. On Tuesday, there were 40, but I just want to know the percent of increase. That means I don't want 40 on top. How many extra people got on the bus? Well, if there were 40 on Tuesday, take away the 32 that were on the bus Monday, that means there was an extra of 8 people on Tuesday. We had 8 extra people ride the bus. So now when I cross multiply and divide, that's an increase of 25%. Okay, so then we read for part B. It says on Wednesday, okay, on Wednesday, the number of people decreased. Decreased, you guys, that's a nice way of saying subtract. So we're going to have to do a subtraction problem. From Tuesday, oops, let's see if we can change that color so we remember that it's Tuesday. So Tuesday. How many people are on the bus Wednesday? So now for this part, we are comparing Tuesday and Wednesday. Well, if I look at that, that means that Tuesday happened before Wednesday. So Tuesday, 40 people rode the bus. That's going to be our original or starting amount. And then my question is, how many people? Well, people can't be a percent, you guys, so that means my X has to go here. And then I looked back in the problem and what I underlined in green said decreased. Oh, that means subtract. So we do 100 minus 40. So if there were 40% less people, that means there were 60% of the amount. So now when you cross multiply and divide, your answer is going to be 24 people. Okay? So the next question is going to be like number 10 on your test. So Robert is looking for a pair of shoes. He finds them. He finds them at a store for $150. That's the original price. Okay? If I paid full price, that's what I'm going to pay. If we keep reading, the store, now this is the store, has a sale of 20% off the original price. We keep reading, and then it goes on and says that Robert also has a coupon for an additional 20% off. So that means we are going to have to set up two proportions. I've got the store's proportion, and then I'm going to have the coupon proportion. So when I set those two up, let's see, we've got the store in green. So we're going to do this one in green, and we'll do the other one in purple. So our store discount, okay, I'd like to try and keep this color coordinated for you. The original price. We are trying to find the sell price. So X goes here. And the store is having a sale for 20%. So what's 100? And I'm just going to write up a little bit higher. What's 100 minus 20, you guys? Goes right there. So that would be 80. So remember, we did this on our assignment. So we wrote X equals, and then we put Y, right, over 100, so we could do both proportions. So when you cross multiply and divide, that means the new price that he would pay if he just got the store's discount was $120. But not only did he get the store's discount, remember, he has an additional, okay, so we'll keep this one. Maybe I should have put this in purple. So we know it's this coupon discount for an additional 20% off again. Well, 100 minus 20 we know is 80. So when we cross multiply and divide, the final price that Robert pays for the shoes is $96. That's his final price. Now part B, if you just read carefully, you can already set up a whole bunch of this one. What percent, we know we're setting up percent proportions. There's already my question. What percent, and then it says, of the original price. Hey, guess what? We know the original price. It's underlined in red up there. It was $150 for the shoes normally. But then it's asking me a particular question about his discount. It's saying, is what percent of the original price is Robert's total discount? Do you know what that's just saying, you guys? How much did he save as a percent? Well, if we think about that, we know that the total price was $150. And we know that Robert ended up paying $96 for the shoes. So if we do a simple subtraction problem, 150 take away 96, we know that Robert saved $54 on those shoes. Now, when you cross multiply and divide, that will tell us that his percent of savings or discount was 36%. Okay, now the last problem on your review is actually question number 9 on your test. On this one, we are finding our simple interest. So we got to remember that formula. Interest equals principal times rate times time. So if we look at this, all we have to notice is that here's the principal. So P is 300 times the rate, 6%. You have to include the percent sign, remember, or it doesn't give you the right answer. right? So you deposit $300 in the bank and you earn 6% annual interest. And then how much interest would you earn after 5 years? Hey, that's our time. So we multiply by 5. When I times these three numbers, if you don't like the dots, you can make asterisks. When you multiply those three numbers, you're going to get the total amount of interest that the bank gave you, which would be $90. Okay, so now remember I asked you fold your paper in half and do the right side without looking at what we did on the left to see if you can figure it out without looking so that you're going to be ready for your test tomorrow. I hope you all have a great night and get this done. See you tomorrow.